Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Relaunch Real Estate Podcast. I am really excited for today because I get to interview someone who is not only like monumental for me and my growth as an agent, but somebody that I can just trust and count on. And she's an incredible agent down in Atlanta. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Connie Carlson from Ansley Atlanta Real Estate. Connie, tell us where you're from, where you live, all those things.
Well, where I'm from is from Iowa on a dairy farm. I think I've shared with you that my dad planted the corn for Field of Dreams. So if you ever saw that movie, that's like our family legacy. My uncle owned that farm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, he owned left field, but we moved to Marietta, Georgia about 30 years ago, and we've lived here ever since. And so that's where our office is located. And really, we focus on the Northwest Atlanta suburban areas.
Okay, so tell me more about Ansley Atlanta.
So Ansley is an independent brokerage, and they only started maybe about 4.5, 5 years, not even 5 years ago.
Okay.
And they are owned by a guy by the name of Beno Ansley, who was a luxury agent in Buckhead and just decided to open up his own brokerage. And within 3 years, they were the #1 brokerage in homes over $1 million in the Atlanta area.
Oh, wow. That is a lot of success early on.
Yeah. So I was running my own brokerage, and we joined Ansley because of the reputation that they have, not just in luxury, but just in customer service and marketing and things like that.
Awesome. And how's the Atlanta market right now?
It's good.
Yeah.
I mean, our inventory in Cobb County is 1 month.
Oh, wow.
One.
It
would be better if we had more homes to sell. Literally, we have buyers and they're ready to go, but we are not finding properties for them.
How much did COVID affect your business this year?
This is our best year ever. Georgia was, first of all, we were considered essential the entire time. And so we maybe had a little slowdown for a few weeks, but Governor Kemp said that we were essential, and he did not shut down the way a lot of the other states did. So we've pretty much been open since probably, I would say, 1st of May.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was pretty similar in our market in Indy. We saw like a 2 or 3 week slowdown, and then everybody
was just freaking out, which,
yeah,
we all were.
Sure. So this was your best year ever, and I'm hearing that a lot. In the midst of this pandemic, do you feel like that's everybody? Do you feel like there's people that you're talking to in the circles in Atlanta that aren't having their best year ever, or is everyone just across the board just having the best year they've ever had?
I would say, and you're going to hear today or whatever you're watching this, that I'm going to just say it how I think it.
Yeah, that's what we want.
So no sugarcoating. So the agents who actually get up and go to work and market themselves and do all the things we're taught to do are having great years. Mm-hmm. There are other agents, and some of them, I mean, to their credit, like they are at risk. They can't go out. Mm-hmm. That stinks for them. And then there's other agents who are just sort of kind of gave up, Yep. So, I mean, the people who are still busting their butt are doing really good.
You didn't hide.
No.
Yeah.
No. In fact, when we were pretty much shelter in place, I learned a new talent. I worked on a new skill while I was at home.
What was that?
Video production.
Oh, okay. So by the way, if you guys ever look up Connie, you're going to see amazing quality video stuff. Do you guys do that all on your own now?
Almost, yeah. So
okay.
I have had, I've been doing Coffee with Connie videos for 10 years. I literally had 300 of them. I had to throw a bunch of them away for a variety of reasons. They were with my old brokerage or poor quality. And then I started about a year and a half ago, I started a video show called My Marietta, which is just all community focused. But then I have a friend up in Calgary, Canada. His name is Brad McCullum, and he does amazing, amazing property videos. And when I saw COVID happening, I knew people are going to want to, going to really get more invested in videos, agents, so I started seeing agents who were never doing videos, all of a sudden hiring them done, which I've been hiring my property videos to be done for years, but only on more of the luxury or higher end houses. Cause it's like at least $500 or more. So I started, following what some of the people were doing out there. And I said, I need to put me in the video or tell more of a story about the house. So instead of it just being the video of the house set to classical music, like boring, like I don't even watch my own property videos when they're like that. I started creating videos that had a story, that had more, pow and more branding. So I couldn't afford to do that. Like when I do something, I want to do it now. I don't want to wait to get on the videos, videographer's schedule. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to figure out how to do this. So I watched hundreds of hours of video, and creating your own videos is big because you've got to have the right equipment. You have to know how to use the equipment. You have to know how to speak on camera. And then, we also produce it. So we had to learn Final Cut Pro, how to get somebody to help hold the camera for us. So it was a huge process, but we're killing it. Our videos are doing really well.
So how much is that attributed to your client base? Do you have clients that say, man, we're checking out your videos, or man, we're calling you because of your videos?
So I think the videos is my USP, unique selling. Like there's a lot of things we all do, but that's something that my competition it's going to take them a while to catch up with me on this one.
Yeah.
So, and when you show up at a client's house and you do a 6-hour video shoot, and then they see, I could show you on the screen one of the, like a quick trailer if you wanted to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. We'd love to see that.
Hold on. Let me get it. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to play this. Oh. There you go.
And you made all of this?
Yeah, I totally made that.
Man, that is gorgeous.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah. And we have a lot of fun with it.
And you're saying you're showing in that video how much time you're putting into these listings in regards to marketing material.
Yeah. And can you imagine what my sellers who are like, this is we've sold 10 homes. We've never had an agent who did this before.
Yeah. Yeah. That is amazing. And you've probably got you have so much content now for marketing in the future that you could splice up if you needed to make ads. And so it's just totally compounding in nature of how beneficial these videos are.
Yeah. And every house has a little different story. So that's probably the hardest part, is just thinking of what the story is going to be. And then we do really cool, I probably should have showed this to you, community videos.
Yep.
Would you like to see a quick tour?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
All right. I'm going to show you one more. You can cut out what you don't want. Okay. So this is the community videos is great because it's really getting us, I won't play this whole thing, but you'll get the general idea.
These restaurants would pay big money for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're doing
themselves
the community videos and the property videos. My daughter's college friend who graduated is still looking for a full-time job as an architect. She's holding the camera, and now I've kind of taught her how to use Adobe Premiere to do. So she's doing some of our video production just to help me out. And now she's starting to do weddings. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So all kinds of business opportunities there.
Yeah.
So So you have your daughters in the video, and then obviously when I came and spent some time with you guys in Atlanta a couple years ago, your husband Dan had just gotten into this. Tell us about how it is working with family, why you guys decided to work together and all of that,
So
and
Dan
how that's
joined.
structured.
Yeah. So Dan, I was running a brokerage of 30 agents plus doing about probably 13 million, 14, 15 million in sales. And I was burning the candle at both ends. And Dan was pretty unsatisfied in his corporate sales job. So I finally talked him out of a 6-figure income to join me in real estate.
Yeah.
Which is kind of scary when you're getting into business with your spouse, because we have a great marriage. So you don't want to rock the boat, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it took us a few months to just kind of figure out our lanes. And what we found is Dan really likes working with buyers. He's a people person. He doesn't want to be sitting in front of a computer. And so he loves the deal. He loves the hunt. So he pretty much worked with our buyers, and he has no desire to do marketing, any of that. So I do the sellers. So that's how that was going. And then our daughter was graduating and decided that, hey, maybe real estate isn't such a bad job after all. Mm-hmm. And so we pulled her in, and she's definitely more like me in terms of her skill set and what she likes. So she's just helping with buyers and sellers, learning how to do everything. But that's it. We got rid of our admin and everything, which is. So
you all complement each other. You find a way to make it work with your clients, all three of you together.
Yeah. And the clients really love the whole family idea.
Yeah.
You know, we tag team really well. If I can't be at a show, because we have to show some of our own properties, especially the luxury ones. And so we're all involved with that. The clients get to meet all of us. So I think they feel like they have really 3 of us working for them instead of just one.
And how many years have you been in real estate?
I think 19. Well, I've been in real estate since 1991. I was a commercial real estate appraiser in the 90s.
Okay.
But I've been selling residential since 2004.
Okay. So 16 years in selling real estate. And so this is probably going to be interesting to listeners, because there's probably some listeners here that have been doing this for a while and they have kids. And did you ever think, like I have a 2.5-year-old, and sometimes I'm like, man, I wouldn't dream this on her. And sometimes I'm like, man, this would be great for her. You know, if she could grow up into this, and, you know, we could create something for her. Did you ever think that your daughter would be a part of this or have a dream for that?
So I have 2 kids, and I grew up on a farm. So a family of entrepreneurs, and my brothers are all 2 of my brothers are farmers. So I always dreamed of having my kids in my business with me. That was always something I wanted. But some of my mentors and coaches were like, well, you realize like that only happens very rarely. Mm-hmm. And at one point Cassie was a senior in college when she told me that being a real estate agent was plan F. You know, she didn't like the working at night and the working on the weekends. But when she started to interview for jobs, she started to realize like, hey, I have a lot more flexibility doing this than I would in a regular job.
Yeah. In control of her destiny, you know, she controls that in this job. That's exciting. And Dan it sounds like his business has grown exponentially since I met with y'all a couple of years ago. Yeah.
He loves it. He does. You know, he was in corporate sales. He had to travel. He had 5 million miles on American. And he's like, he doesn't want to get back on a plane. He loves being his own boss and not having to work under, you know, the rules of a corporate sales job. Mm-hmm. And the pressure. He's like, this is easy and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's easy. After what he did, he finds this easy.
That's awesome. Talk to us about what you guys have accomplished this year in the form of, you know, volume and those kind of things.
So my son just came in. My son is working from home right now.
Oh, okay.
COVID, but he's going out to Colorado and staying in an Airbnb for 2 months. So he just walked in.
Is this the first time you've seen him in a long time?
No, he's been living here for 3 weeks.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, you need to stop and say hi.
No, you're supposed to stop in and say hi, Trev. No, so we had a goal. So it was just Dan and I really at the beginning of the year. Our goal was 30 million. And we are right now at 31,200,000 pending and close so far this year. So we're going to make our goal.
That's fantastic.
And I will say I'm 53 and both of our kids have graduated. So we're in kind of a, my whole career, it's been like go, 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 grow, 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 more. And we're this year I'm looking at my budget thinking, I don't know if I want to work as hard next year as I did this year.
Right.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And maybe your daughter is the next, step in the progression of the business, man. And there's a lot of agents that, they would dream of like over 30 million in sales. Right. So, and you guys are to the place, you've been doing this for a while. What's the primary source of business for you and your team, your family?
So obviously number one is past clients, referrals, agent referrals. I get quite a few agent referrals because I've done a lot of training and, ever since I got my license, I've always shared just like you're doing right here. Mm-hmm. And I think that resonates with other agents. And then secondly is our online branding. I asked people how they found us and they said they found us on the internet. Mm-hmm. So whether it's our reviews, we have hundreds of reviews on Zillow, Google, Yelp. We don't have hundreds on Yelp. Yelp is hard. Hundreds on Google, hundreds on Facebook, and hundreds on Zillow. So that's helped. And then our website is very personal. Our website is, you can go to carlsonresidential.com, take you to our website. And I have completely designed that on my own. I have a lot of videos on my website. It's a year ago, when the whole iBuyer thing came, so I guess that was more than a year ago, I decided that if the iBuyer robots are going to be doing business this way, I'm going to go in the opposite direction and be more authentic, more real, more personable than they are. So that's how I separate myself. So if you're looking for a transaction, you're not going to know your agent. They're not going to care about your family. They're not going to know the name of your dog. Go that route. Mm-hmm. Go the other route. And we're very involved in our community. So when you go on our website, you see that, and that draws people. We've got quite a few leads from just what I call online branding.
Does your website, and obviously we can check it out, but does your website feature a property search, or is it more so just about what you guys do, who you are, and how you help people?
As we used to have just like a branded site and then a property search site, which we do get quite a few amount of business from our online leads. Mm-hmm. I would say that's where we spend the most money and where we spend the most time, but it's definitely not where we get the most of our business, but it's a nice thing to fall back on. But as of June, now our website, the Carlson Residential website does have an IDX, and we are capturing leads from that. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that site's more so geared towards, hey, this is the experience. This is who we are and what we can do for you all. It's got a search engine inside of it for properties, but it's more so about the experience and the brand, right?
So what I wanted, because I had a Commissions Inc. site, sync site, and then I had our Curator site. And this year, Curator came out with a new product. And please, if you don't have Curator or you don't know about them, like this is my little Curator commercial, please tell them I referred you. But they married the two. So we use the Curator it's called Accelerator, to draw traffic in from Facebook, Google Ads, ad roll, retargeting. It draws people in who's never heard me before or never seen of me before. And then I have all that great branded content. So instead of it just being a property search, once they're on there, then we show them the blogs and the videos and all of those things. So it's one site that captures and converts. That's
beautiful. And you guys have been playing the long-term content building game that's paid off, obviously, to sell what you've sold. That's amazing. So one thing that you mentioned was reviews. So you guys have hundreds of reviews, and I know, and that those are incredibly valuable in an agent's business. How do you guys go get them? Do they just happen? Do your clients just say, we're going to do it on our own and you never have to ask for them? Or how do you guys get so many reviews?
I send them an email with a link to a site that has the links to all of the places that I want them to leave me a review.
Mhm.
And then I just ask them to copy and paste the review in there. And we do like raffle drawings and things like that throughout the year.
This is after a closing, during a pending process?
Usually after the closing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think the most important site to have those reviews is on? What site is that?
I would say don't put anything on anyone. I mean, that's why I give them Zillow, Google, Yelp, and Facebook. Mm-hmm. Because I used to just send them all to Zillow. I don't like Zillow controlling anything in my business.
Yep.
Not that you shouldn't do Zillow, because people do check on Zillow and we do get business from Zillow. But Google, if you ask Google, like, who's the best real estate agent in Marietta, I came up number 1 for years. Now I'm like number 2, and it really bothers me.
Yeah.
I still get business from it.
Yeah. That's actually where I was hoping you would go with that question, because I do think that Google is obviously where a majority of people go, and the intent level is so high there. If someone is Googling, I need to find the best realtor in this area, and you have over 100 reviews, they're going to go ahead and believe in that because Google's the biggest brand of all brands.
Right.
Whereas we never know what Zillow's going to do with our data and our reviews. And that kind of leads me to the iBuyer thing. So is the iBuyer market pretty active in Atlanta? What does that look like in Atlanta and around?
It's definitely a player, but it's not predominant. I mean, one of the big brokerages here, one of my friends is a listing agent for that big brokerage, and they are heavily on the whole iBuyer system. Mm-hmm. And she said 40% of my listing appointment, and all she does is go on appointments. Like that's all she only keeps like 28% of her commission.
So they're just lining up appointments and she's going and.
Yeah, they have like 100 billboards, but she said 40% of the time I go out there, they just want to know what their home value is. And so I think think about like this. Okay, the book Ninja Selling. Yep. That 5% of the population want to pay more for things just because they want to pay more for things. They're going to buy a Gucci purse just to say they have a Gucci purse, right? Even though a Gucci purse is $5,000.
Right.
Then you have 10%. Let me think. What is it? 5%. And then 15% of the population is always going to want like the cheapest deal. So even though Supercuts does a terrible job cutting hair, they're still going to go there because it's the cheapest haircut, right? Yep. And then 80% of the population wants quality service at a decent price. I'm chasing the 80%.
Yeah.
And the 5%. But the 15%, they're not for me. That's okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, there's a lot more pie in the 80% as well. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, and it's a lot better life to work with people that don't just want the cheapest commission or,
Sure. Sure. I think that lives, right? I think no matter what, that people are always going to, maybe even the first time someone purchases something like a house, maybe they are in that 15%, but it doesn't mean that 15% can't transition to the 80% later because they had a bad experience in the 15%.
And a lot of times if you just show them your value proposition, they're not going to want to go the 15% route anyway.
Right. Especially if you're doing 6-7 hours of video work on their listing. Yes. Holy smokes. That's awesome. Let me ask you an interesting question that you actually don't hear a lot in podcasts. What was the worst year or period of time in your real estate business, and what did that look like?
Oh man. I think the worst year maybe wasn't my worst year financially, but mentally. Yeah. I lost my dad in February of like 2000. Oh my gosh, I think it was like 6 years ago. I lost my dad, and then my father-in-law got cancer like that. I lost my dad in February. My father-in-law got cancer in November. And I kind of reached a burnout point where I was coaching. I was a KW agent. I was coaching with MAPS. I talked to my MAPS coach. I'm like, I really don't even feel like we need to have a conversation. Like, there's nothing for you to hold me accountable for because I really have no ambition right now. Yeah. And she said, so she was a great coach. And she kind of got me think, she goes, well, tell me what you like doing about this business. And I said, and this is where my frame, I'm a pretty positive person, but at that moment I was like, I'll tell you what I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this kind of buyer. I don't like this. I don't like that. I don't like blah, blah, blah. I went through the whole list. She said, well, get rid of all those things and let's just have you focus on what you love. And that was pretty moving for me. Once you say what you focus on expands, as a big Kellerism, but it's really true. Like giving up all of my buyer business to my buyer's agent and having a good buyer's agent and just focusing on listings was a game changer for me.
Yeah. And that's interesting to hear, because that was probably what, 9 or 10 years into your sales career.
Yeah. I got burned out.
Yeah. And most people would think at that time, agents are just kind of cruising along and they've found their niche and they may never ever escape or get burned out, but it can happen at any time.
So there's no cruise control in this.
Yeah.
You only know what you're going to make for like 2 months in advance. That's it. Like I have no idea if I'm going to have any money in January.
Yeah. Even doing what you do.
Right. I got 30 million, but I still have no sales for January. So far, January is looking very bleak.
Right.
But I've got a good pipeline. So I'm not, I have learned over the years that everything, as long as I just keep doing the right things and, doing the marketing that I do, that business just keeps coming in.
What are you on the DISC analysis? Do you know? Because you were Keller Williams.
99% D, 99% I.
Yeah. So that's how you're motivated, right? Is just constantly trying to not find the next thing, but secure your ability to get clients, right? And you're never thinking that it's just going to come to me and it'll all work out. You're thinking, I've got to go get it all the time.
So they talk a lot about big whys, and I've given that a lot of thought. A big why is not like a goal. Like my big why is get my kids through college. Like that's a goal. A big why is that thing that when you're laying in bed at night, in the middle of the night, just gets your heart pumping and your blood pumping. Like you can't hardly stand it. Like you're so excited. For me, my big why is I need to create. As soon as I'm not creating something, then I get very bored and very dissatisfied. So that's why I built a brokerage. That's why, I'm always moving forward. My husband says, as soon as you figure out what she's doing, she's already on the other thing.
Yep. And that's actually the personality of a lot of successful real estate brokers. I mean, just creating opportunities for their people, their clients, and themselves, truthfully. So let's talk about that. You owned a brokerage and you no longer are in an ownership capacity. You moved to, work with a brokerage. Tell me why you made that switch.
So just a little background. I opened up in 2016. I opened up Live Love Atlanta, and I was like a mega team at Keller Williams at the time. And I don't have any qualms with Keller Williams. I liked it there.
Yeah.
It was actually some of the people on my team that said, "Hey, we want to go to a cheaper place, or will you open your own brokerage?" And I thought, well, how hard could it be to open my own brokerage? I always have my own space. Well, I was a little disillusioned. There's a lot to owning a brokerage, as you can attest to. But of course, once I had it, then I had to build it. So we built it up to 30 agents and 5 full-time staff. I think that year I was number 6 in our county. So I was still doing quite a bit of production. I was doing a lot of everything on my, we were small brokers. So I was doing a lot of it myself. 6 of our agents decided to join another team with another company, and I am a female. I can get emotionally attached to things and take rejection pretty hard. So I was in a vulnerable state when Ansley came to us and said, "Hey, we'd like to move to Marietta, and we'd like to partner with you. And how would you like to get rid of all that broker responsibility and just be an agent again?" Actually, they wanted me to be a broker, and I was like, "No, I just want to sell as many homes as I can for the rest of the time I have left in this business." So
yeah,
good.
What were the pain points of owning your own brokerage?
I think the most painful thing was just um, putting your heart and soul into it and giving, and then feeling like they were never happy with, like they never had enough.
Mm. Yeah, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it feels, and you guys, when I visited there, very much so felt like family.
It was, yeah. So when people left, it was heartbreaking for me.
Yeah.
I took it very, very like emotionally when an agent decided to leave. And, that's part of it. Agents move around, but, I get kind of emotionally attached to the agent. So it was hard for me to see him go.
Yeah, absolutely. I understand where you're at there. We've had agents, after they part ways with us, and you give them so much time and energy, and you do things for them that you would do for a brother or a sister or a spouse. And it's nothing on them. It's just, it's not right for them anymore too. And so they have to make the move, but it really, really hurts. You feel like a parent to them.
Yeah.
And it's like your kid leaving.
A little bit, you kind of feel betrayed.
Yeah.
No.
And so you probably don't have that worry anymore because you have a very small business with family. What's the perks? What's the perks of being a part of a really successful brokerage that has an amazing brand and lets you kind of be you? What are the perks for you?
So with, you mean with like Ansley?
Yeah, or just not owning your own brokerage
Okay.
in general.
Yeah. So what I've learned through the years, because I was with Keller Williams for 14 years, I was a team leader for them for almost 2 years. I was a MAPS coach for them. So I, very familiar with that franchise. Then I ran my own brokerage, and now I'm with a traditional brokerage. So I've, done a lot. And there's pros and cons on all of them. I loved learning Keller Williams. Their training was amazing. Our office was really small when we started. Keller Williams was in its infancy. So I love to be part of like startups. Maybe that's what I loved about Ansley. I mean, when we joined, it was just 120 agents. Right now, what we love the Ansley brand. We are trying to grow into the luxury product a lot more. And we've definitely seen, even just the year that we've been with Ansley, a lot more luxury listings come our way. And even relo, like we use even though there's some pretty hefty fees with the relo, we leverage our relo listings and our relo clients to get more luxury listings.
Yeah.
Market. So at the end, I've been tracking based on how much I'm paying with my traditional brokerage, but how much I'm getting in return. And it's about even.
Yeah. And how much of that do you think is just what is there training at Ansley that got you guys there, or is it just kind of like a state of mind and a culture that had you guys shift your?
They're starting to do a lot more training. They have partnered with App Properties out of Chicago, so we're starting to. But I mean, they had production standards when I joined a year ago. They had production standards, so most of the agents that I was working with were pretty seasoned agents, and they do have training now, but it's definitely not a brokerage for brand new agents. I wouldn't say. So I think the luxury comes from the brand, which it's always been hammered in my head, like you're the brand, but I'm seeing that I sometimes can have a little bit of an advantage just because of all the marketing we do and then our brand with Ansley on top of that.
Yeah. And it sounds like you're surrounding yourself with also very successful people, or the sum of the people that we're around.
Right.
And so
the reputation is like, wow, if you're an Ansley agent, you've passed the test,
Yeah. No pressure, but you have to perform, succeed.
Yes.
And you feel accountable because of that. That's really interesting. So yeah, I mean, it sounds like the takeaway for agents is they should be in an organization that holds them accountable either directly or indirectly, an organization that has people that are performing and hopefully a majority of the organization is performing.
Yeah. I mean, if you decide that, a low cost company is your way, I don't think there's a wrong way. I think you just have to find the way that's right for you and where you're at in your career.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Talk to me about your guys' marketing. Is it mostly, Actually, talk to me about your lead sources. So you guys are doing a lot of business, obviously, with past clients, referral. You're getting stuff from your videos and stuff. And you mentioned that you invest in online leads.
Yeah.
How much do you guys, rely on that? Where do you invest?
So we have pretty much moved everything with Curator. And so they're doing, because I'm not, I can do Facebook ads, but I don't have near as much, like I don't get as much production from them as I am if I just let them handle it for me. And then I can be more focused on the other things I do. So we're spending quite a bit on online leads. And we're getting, I would say we get about 200 a month, but we used to have a lot more, but we're trying to work it so that they're more better leads.
Yeah.
So I like the online. I built my team. I built my brokerage on online leads, and admittedly, we're so busy. We're not calling as often as we should.
Mm-hmm.
But that's on us. The leads that we're getting are great. We just have to call them more. For me, it's kind of that security blanket. Like,
yes,
I know with my referrals and past clients that they continue to give me business, but there's that fear I have that if that dried up, I always have this whole pond to go to,
Yeah.
And, but these people that I pull them into what I call my web. Once I get them into the web, I've got 17,000 people in my database, and I'm sending them video emails, and they're getting, if they're in my, if they're like in my really tight knit, they get newsletters, mailing newsletters. And then if they're really in my circle of excellence, I send them a gift every quarter. So,
oh, wow.
And we have a client appreciation party. So we do a lot with our sphere of our past clients, but we're always trying to bring more people in. So it's like, we don't try to put all our eggs in one basket.
Tell me more about your client appreciation party. What do you guys do?
Oh, they're the best. Although this year we're not having one.
Right.
We have them at our house. We have a big basement, and we purposely finished it with a huge bar.
I've seen this bar, and it is beautiful. It was under construction when I was there.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome. And it's almost like typically we call it holiday season. We start having parties Thanksgiving to all through February. So our parties, we tend to do them in February. I found that if I always tell people it's the weekend before Valentine's Day all year long as I'm working with them. So it's easy for them to remember. There's no March Madness hasn't started. Football is over. So there's no sport thing that's going to get in the way really in February. There's no, May's terrible. Don't do May. That's December. And then I hire a little band that comes out. My kids are the bartenders. I was going to cater last year, but the caterer canceled the day before. So I did this 10-foot charcuterie board, and I just went out and bought a bunch of shit. We just have open bar and food and live music, and that's what we do. And then I have my videographer and my photographer there. So they take pictures, we set up a big screen, and then they make a testimonial video that's including scenes from the party. So we can use that later for more business.
Talk about creating such a loyal past client base. You're bringing people into your home. I mean, these people are becoming your friends, your family.
Yeah.
And these are, I'm assuming, is where your business has grown from. These folks just praising you and telling people.
Even when I was a team leader for 2 years and I wasn't doing any sales, when I got back into sales, the people in my database, they didn't even know that I wasn't doing anything for 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the cycle. They haven't moved, right?
And they just, then they keep referring their kids. And so, and usually we'll send out 140 invitations. We don't have 140 couples come to the party, but it's just, that high touch is a good way of just not, you don't want them to forget about you.
Right. Absolutely. That is fantastic. Tell me about That's kind of a hard question. What failures have you experienced in the last, several years in real estate that you could tell agents to avoid?
So I think my biggest mistake, although I will say is that I believe that everything happens for a reason, so I wouldn't be where I'm at right now had I not made the mistakes that I made.
Mm-hmm.
And I like where I'm at. So I guess that was part of the journey. But I had a team when I was at KW. There was 5 of us, and I was the team lead. And then when I opened my own brokerage, I kind of did more of a broker model where I didn't do the 50-50 split. And I just kept saying, I'm going to lower the fees. I lowered their fees till I was like not making any money myself.
Yeah.
And in trying to make everyone happy, because I like to have people be happy, I pushed myself into an unprofitable business. I wasn't losing money, but I sure as heck wasn't making enough money for how much work I was putting into it.
Maybe gave a little too much there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, again, like you said, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because you learn from these, and now it's created this situation that you're in today where you're probably running an incredibly profitable business. Do you guys still have your office in the square, or do you work from home?
Mm-hmm. Yep. We still have the same office. And a lot of times now with COVID, still, hardly anybody ever in there. So.
Right. Yeah. And it's just you 3 in that office, or is the Marietta office like a lot of Ansley people?
Now it's Ansley has their sign on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
we have an office in there, but
okay. I see.
I'm not paying rent there.
Which is a part of owning a brokerage, right? I mean, you have all these overhead expenses.
Well, that was another thing that kind of pushed me in, because our lease was about to expire. I was a year away from expiring, and I was like panicking about signing another 5-year lease.
Yeah.
At 53 years old.
Right. Yeah. When you're already probably seeing some writing on the wall that, hey,
right.
Maybe it might just make more sense for me to just do this thing.
Right.
So got a little bit more time. Core values were something that you taught me when I was visiting with you. And by the way, just a quick backstory for you guys. I had listened to Connie on the Pat Hyben's Real Estate Rockstars podcast, which is an amazing podcast that you all should check out. And I was in a period of time where I wanted to be like Connie. I had a team inside of another brokerage like you did. And I thought it was time to take that team into my own brokerage, which I did. And I reached out to Connie, and Connie told me literally everything that she did. She sent me this Google Drive folder of everything that she had to like build her brokerage. And so I can't thank you enough of all the help that you've done to help create the brokerage that we have. But one of the things that you taught me was, you have to know what you value as a brokerage, and you have to know what's driving you, and then try to instill those things, those same core values into the people that you're leading. So do you, now that you guys are in the small group, do you guys, talk about your core values, or is it just kind of like your family values that are driving this now?
I definitely think it's the family values. I have tried to corral my husband and daughter into like a weekly or bi-weekly sales meetings.
Yeah.
And I'm not having too much luck with that. I would say like I'm probably the figurehead for the company, but I'm definitely not the boss. Like there is no boss per se.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just the family. We do talk a lot, especially Cassie and I, especially Dan. He's just out there selling real estate. Cassie and I talk a lot about our brand. We did make the decision to really lean in on this family thing. So even when Cassidy was just getting started, like you'll see her, she's in my listing videos. If you watch some of the videos, like we talk about, in one of the videos, what was it? Oh, we were like in somebody's media room, and we were saying, this is a great place if you have friends over, or you want to watch a football game, or you just want to hang out. And Cassie comes jumping on the couch on me and gives me a hug and says, and with your mama,
yeah.
Just we've really leaned into that. And I think that, in my opinion, and I fell prey to this too, especially when I was a new agent. I thought I had to be all professional and buttoned up, and
Right.
now I'm definitely more like, this is who I am, and
Sure.
if this is fun, and if you don't like that, then we're not the right people for you. But I think people like it. They resonate. They call me and they're like, I feel like I know you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's who we have to be. We have to be ourselves. We have
Be
to be
yourself. That is actually what I wrote on my inspiration board this morning.
Oh, there you go.
Be
Yeah.
yourself.
I mean, people know when you're not.
Right.
I mean, people pick that up and they know that it's not authentic. And then they almost can't even like listen to you or take your advice.
So I have a Peloton now, and they can be pretty motivational. And the one I was on the other day, she just kept saying, like, who are you? Who are you? And the whole time I'm riding my bike, I'm like, who am I?
Yeah.
Not who do I want to be? Who am I?
Mm-hmm. People don't think about that. They don't stop and really reflect.
Well, I think we spend too much time thinking about where we want to go instead of where we're at.
Yeah, I agree. That's beautiful. That's an awesome takeaway. I was thinking about this, and we can hit on it as quick or as much as you'd want. So let's go like advanced for a second, because you've been there. There might be team leaders that are listening to this, or even broker owners that are listening to this. If you could just give them one piece of advice, based on maybe the failures that you made or the successes that you had made in owning a brokerage. Because I know I make failures every day owning a brokerage, and I wish I could take it back. What would you tell them? What would you tell them in leading people?
Okay. So there's a lot of things I could say there. I would say, for the new agents, my advice is, when you get your license, you don't know exactly what you should be doing. And I say you should spend 9 hours a day working. 3 hours a day, you need to be learning something, whether that's going to class, watching a YouTube video, mentoring, being with a mentor, learning. 3 hours a day. 3 hours a day you should spend building your business, working in your business. This is for new agents. So maybe you go to a listing presentation class, or you learn how to do an open house, then do all the things you need to do so you're ready to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have your CRM set up? Do you even know what a CRM is? If you don't, you need to figure it out, and you need to get it going, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 hours a day, and this is where new agents miss. They do a lot of training, but they don't do 3 hours a day of lead generation.
Yep.
And if you don't have any clients, you should do 3 hours of training, 3 hours of working on your business, and then 3 hours of lead generation. And if you do that, eventually with your lead generation, you're going to have less time to do it training, and you'll be working with your clients more. So I think everybody says do lead generation, but you need to call people every day. This is a contact sport. Yep. So you need to have people to call every single day.
And was that one of the things you tried to instill in your people when you're in a brokerage, that 3, 3, and 3 model?
Yeah. And a lot of people need somebody to hold them accountable to that.
Yeah.
And so if you are that person, like I was terrible at consistent lead generation until I became a team leader for KW, and I had to do it because I was paid a salary.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the Great Depression, recession. So, and then I got in the habit of doing it. And now it's sort of like brushing your teeth. Like every day I say, I'm going to call 25 people every day.
And that is still a piece of your business today, 16 years.
Yeah. And I still don't like doing it.
Yeah.
But I have to do it. But once you get started, it's like working out, once you get working out, it's like, this ain't so bad. And other days you can't wait to quit, but.
Right. And just like working out, when it's finished, you feel a result generally. Yep. Yeah. It's just getting through it is difficult. I love that analogy. I actually never thought of prospecting like that, but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's like a workout where there's always a benefit at the end.
The other thing is, for agents that have been in the business longer, is don't get trapped in this is, I don't know if this will settle with everybody, but
I'm going to like it already.
Yeah. Don't get trapped in the bigger is better all the time. because I think in our industry, people are like, oh, how many people do you have on your team? Or how many units have you sold? And you can get caught in that trap, and more units or more people on your team doesn't necessarily mean more money or more happiness.
Amen. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is so true. And I think that our industry is finally learning that, because a lot of the models are bring people in, bring people in, bring people in, fill the seats, and eventually you're going to find a winner.
Yeah.
Well,
or everybody will do all the work for you and you can just live on Fiji.
oh man, that's not how it goes.
I haven't found that yet.
Yeah. Well, you've seen that and you recognize that. We see that in our business. We do, for generally every one winner that we have like 4 or 5 folks that it's just not a good fit for them.
Yeah.
And the brokerage is spending so much resources on those 4 or 5 people that it makes that one person who's excelling not profitable. It's still not profitable. So I do think our industry is changing in that, I think that there's organizations that are going towards salaried agents that have certain requirements. And if once they graduate past these requirements, they can be agents like we all were starting out in the past. I think all of those are really good ideas.
Yeah. There are certain agents that will do much better in a salary position.
Yeah.
They don't have, a lot of them, I mean, they just don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody says, this is what you're going to do, and this is the money you're going to make, they're like, okay, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. I think those are some models to consider for sure. Are there any questions that I should have asked you?
Oh, geez. I think those are really good questions. I just think they're good questions. And I think the other thing is, I think the one thing I would add is like, don't stop learning. I'm always surprised at agents that this is what I love about what you do. You actually flew here to figure out what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, don't just stay in your tiny little brokerage and listen to the same thing over and over. Like, go to conferences. Someday we'll have those again.
Yeah.
Go out. There's the one thing that we didn't have when I started 15 years ago was YouTube and all these videos. Like, I don't stop learning. I have a video, a mastermind video I'm going to watch when I get off here. Like, I never stop. Whether you go for a walk and you listen to a podcast, you always have to be learning and growing, because if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah. That's why I love what you do so much. And I knew the first time I ever listened to you, because I just knew that was something that you valued. And it's the same. I was on a podcast 2 weeks ago, and they asked me at the end, is there anything else you'd want to share? And I literally said, never stop learning.
See, you're my like indie soulmate.
I like it. That's awesome. It's so true. It's so true. Our industry's, it's old and traditional, but at the same time, it's always changing.
Gosh, there are some smart people out there.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to learn from them. And you would be one of them. Thank you so much. So Connie, hopefully we can have somebody in our audience that someday sends you a referral for the Atlanta area. And I would love for you to just let them know how to get a hold of you and where to find you.
I would say the best way to reach me is my phone number, which I'm happy to share, which is 678-488-9646, or my email. And this is my going to be with me my whole life email. And that is Connie@ConnieCarlson.com.
Beautiful.
And both would be the best way. Call me and email me.
You also have an amazing YouTube channel. You want to tell them about that? Or?
Sure. And please subscribe.
Yeah.
It is youtube.com/Carlson Residential.
Okay. Guys, definitely go and check that out. Connie is a wealth of information and knowledge, and just a really great person that you guys hopefully can get to know someday. Thanks for listening again. Connie, thanks for being on board.
Yes, my pleasure.
You guys have a great day. Take care.
Bye.